All right, everyone, it's been about a year since my last update on my 4K Blu-ray movie collection, and I'm here giving you guys another look at my recent pickups. Now, last year, when I did that video, I had talked about wanting to make this an annual video series, and this is me acting on that, but also that video was a lot longer and there was a lot more to show because the last time I had done a 4K Blu-ray movie collection video was a couple of years ago, and so it was encompassing basically all of these pickups since then. And well, this video is going to be a lot shorter. It's going to be just my recent pickups for the last year, basically, since I did that video. And then basically we're going to go on from there. I'll show you guys my full collection at the end of this video here, and we'll go on and move forward there. All right, so hope you guys enjoy this one. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you at the end of it. All right, so first up we have a really special version of a movie here. This is No Country for Old Men, the Criterion Collection. This was just ported on 4K Blu-ray somewhat recently. And this is one of those movies that honestly I've only seen in parts, but I never watched the entire, full thing. It's often considered one of the best movies ever made, and definitely wanted to add this for my collection. I just love the cover art that they did here for the Criterion Collection. As you can see, includes the 4K Blu-ray as well as the standard Blu-ray here, and it's just a really nice, clear case here with just beautiful artwork and everything on top. I just think that they put this together very well. As you can see, it's still sealed. I haven't even watched this yet, but this is one of those movies that I'm just kind of looking forward to finding some time to sit down, watch this on really nice Dolby Atmos surround sound and just get the full fat experience. So quite looking forward to watching this in its entirety for the first time, really. All right, we got a foreign film up next. This is Godzilla Minus One, which I've just heard nothing but excellent things about. Everyone seems to love this movie, and it reviewed rather highly. I'm not a big Godzilla fan. I like what Gareth Edwards did with Godzilla back in, 2014 or so, with bringing that back to the big screen as far as the US adaptation goes. But, Godzilla and its full Japanese creation, stuff like that, is just really the heart of this series. And I'm kind of really excited to see this because I've just heard like incredible things, winner of best visual effects for one, but everyone said that the acting, the storytelling is just like on another level entirely. So I have actually not seen this movie. I just bought it on a whim because of just how much people have been praising this. And yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to kind of diving into this and getting an interesting, different take on the Godzilla character and just seeing how the Japanese fare with, bringing back this creature of theirs to the big silver screen. So this is one I'm really excited to watch and, just experience on my setup. And yeah, looking forward to seeing what all the hype is about, essentially. All right, next up we have probably my favorite movie of 2025 so far. I think when I think back about all the movies I've seen, this is probably up there as far as like top tier cinematic experiences go. Sinners, of course. Now I saw this at Universal in 70mm IMAX back when it came out, and was just blown away. The music, just the visual language of the film, the acting and stuff, everything on top just made this a really, thematic and just beautiful experience to behold. Absolutely loved watching this in theaters, and so when this came out, like, I bought it immediately. So this is really just awesome to have. I have not, sat down and of course watched it again from the 4K Blu-ray, but I'm really happy to see that they've actually included some of the IMAX expanded aspect sequences in the actual, Blu-ray release. That's not always a given, unfortunately, when it comes to these disc releases. But being that I am fortunate enough to have basically access to a real true 70mm IMAX experience, seeing films like this in that format just really drive home basically just the excellent work and just all the stuff that the directors and the people on set really put into making this film. So this is just an excellent movie. I had a really fun time watching this, and I'm excited to watch it again on my own personal setup and just have it for the foreseeable future. That's awesome. All right, next up we have one of my favorite comedies of all time. This is Galaxy Quest, which just got a recent re-release on 4K Blu-ray. Man, I love watching this movie. It's basically a satirical take on Star Trek, and you have people like Tim Allen, Sigourney Weaver, Alan Rickman, just a bunch of excellent actors in here, and it's just done to perfection. It's got a great sense of character, just great writing, just hilarity all around. And when this got re-released on 4K, I'm like, oh man, I gotta watch this. This is something I used to watch on cable television when I was a kid, and it's just one of my favorites, back then. So absolutely enjoyed watching this movie, and can't wait to watch it again here in 4K, and kind of seeing all the effort that they put into this as well. This might be one I want to sit down with my parents and watch, because that's something that we used to do when I was a lot younger and was really watching this for the first time. So yeah, just excellent and fun to have this on 4K Blu-ray. All right, picked up finally The Equalizer 3. I had 1 and 2 already, but was waiting for the third one here to go on sale. I really like this franchise. Denzel Washington just does an excellent job. I actually liked Equalizer 3 more than Equalizer 2, which I thought was a decent sequel, but just never really could hit the top marks of the first film, which to me is still my favorite. I still like the original film the best. But this is just an excellent series. Denzel doing what he does best, and just playing this really cold-hearted, but just also just really kind, assassin basically, and leveraging his skill sets to basically help out the people in need. It's just excellent. So yeah, I enjoyed watching this movie and kind of seeing what they did here with this third one. I saw this in theaters initially, but again, I was waiting for this disc release to go on sale so I can get it really cheap. And then that's basically what I did. I finally picked it up for my collection, so now I have all 3 films on 4K Blu-ray here for the future. All right, here's another film I've heard mixed things about. This is M. Night Shyamalan's Trap. I enjoy his movies every now and again. It just seems to me like he's really good at coming up with really interesting concepts, but the execution is always spotty. And I've heard that's basically, the case for this movie. I have not seen it at all, so I have no idea what to expect. But I remember seeing the previews for this in the theaters, and I was like, oh, that's a really interesting concept, that there's this trained assassin dude who's taken his daughter basically for this concert, and all of a sudden it's like this huge trap basically set by the government to try and track him down. So it just seems really kind of, interesting and just different to me. I really appreciate him as a filmmaker for coming up with these concepts and just really bringing these concepts to the big screen. But yeah, the execution always seems to be hit or miss, and I've heard that unfortunately this one's a bit of a miss. However, I have not seen it. I might come away with a different opinion, or might be able to appreciate its more, subtle, great things that it does in between. But yeah, I wanted to pick this up. In fact, I think I got this for like super cheap, like $5 or something like that. So, it didn't really cost me much, and was just, one of those things I was like, oh yeah, I have an interest in seeing this, so might as well get it anyway. All right, we have an Academy Award-winning film up next. This is DreamWorks' The Wild Robot. I've heard excellent things about this film, and that's pretty awesome, because usually animated films these days are unfortunately kind of hit or miss. Some of them are great, and some of them are just kind of like mediocre. This is one I have not seen yet, but I've just heard it's one of the better, especially coming from the DreamWorks studio, one of the better films. And this should look excellent on the 4K format. I always say whenever animated films come out for the format, they usually do a great job, because they could just render it in higher resolution. You really see the fine-grained detail of what they put into the artistry of these characters and these worlds. So yeah, I'm looking forward to unpacking this and watching it and seeing what the film is like, and hopefully walking away with just a really beautiful story and something that I can just remember it by. All right, next up, one of my favorite films from 2023, was it? It was a couple years ago. In fact, I got this film not last year, but the year before. It was basically, I got this film on release, and for some reason, I think I completely forgot. I did not include it in my last year's, pickups video. But anyway, yeah, here is Furiosa, the Mad Max saga. This is a prequel to Fury Road, and just an excellent, excellent film. They just did a great job with it. It really kind of builds on the principles of Fury Road, but it's a lot more story-driven. It's also a lot longer. I think overall I enjoyed Fury Road a little bit more for its pacing, though. This film does take a little bit to get going, but they really place you in sort of in the world, and they really kind of develop the characters, and they really take their time building out everything. So I think that you can get a lot more out of this film. Like, this film just does a lot more, and it brings all the style and the flair of what you loved from Fury Road into this game, just a much larger and longer narrative, a more epic storyline, if you will. Anyway, I just really enjoyed this, and George Miller always does a fantastic job with his releases on 4K Blu-ray. Mad Max Fury Road is often considered a demo-worthy disc, and this is no exception either. This is right up there with some of the best quality 4K Blu-rays that you can actually buy. So by default, you have to get it for that reason, but this is just a great film as well. And when I build my Atmos setup and watch this on my 77-inch A95L, this is one I'm going to be savoring every second for. Absolutely love the way this film looked in theaters and cannot wait to watch it again at home. Alright, next up is a film that I've been really eagerly waiting for a 4K, a more public 4K release that is, and that is The Social Network. Now you're seeing here a steelbook version of the case itself, and that's because this is the only way to get this film basically a la carte on 4K Blu-ray. Now, if you weren't aware, they actually already made a 4K Blu-ray of The Social Network. However, it was only sold exclusively through a Columbia Pictures collection of like 7 or 8 additional films. And that collection ended up costing like $100+ and is being resold for like upwards of $200 to $300 with all these films. And so it was like the only way you can get a 4K Blu-ray of this film was through basically that collection. Well, they finally released this film standalone, but it was only exclusively through this steelbook, so you actually don't have a standard case for it. But this is just one of my favorite films just to go and watch. Aaron Sorkin is just, the writer is just phenomenal here, and this is probably his best work yet, in my opinion, still to this day. And they just announced they're making a sequel to this film, which is a bit surprising to me. I don't think The Social Network really needed a sequel. However, they're getting different people to play the characters, but I believe the original, like Aaron Sorkin's back, and I'm not sure if David Fincher is continuing to direct or whatnot. But in any case, I really enjoyed watching this movie. It's one of my favorites. I'm so happy I got a 4K Blu-ray release. I would love a 4K Blu-ray release of Steve Jobs as well. And, just saying if hopefully we'll get that in the future as well. So in any case, really happy to have this on 4K Blu-ray, one I was waiting for a long time. And yeah, looking forward to watching this in the format again. All right, next up we have the original Terminator. I owned Terminator 2 on 4K Blu-ray, which is sadly considered one of the worst releases of the disc format. Not because it looks awful, but because they used AI upscaling, and apparently James Cameron just got rid of all the noise and stuff, as he typically likes to do with his re-releases. They made it look more digital. So people aren't happy with the way that Terminator 2 Judgment Day looks, and I've already talked about that in my last year's video, but they finally released the first Terminator here, and I believe they have Terminator Salvation, which is the other one I do want to get on 4K Blu-ray, but I think that's already out and available. But in any case, I've actually not seen any of these films. I've only seen Salvation, which is why I kind of want it on 4K Blu-ray, because I thought it was a really good film for the time. But I have actually not seen the original, and I have not seen Terminator 2 either. So I heard they did a much better job with this release of the first Terminator. It apparently looks more like the original intent of the film, with the film grain and all that sort of detail back. So apparently they did a really good job with this re-release here on 4K Blu-ray. It looks markedly better than what people are saying Terminator 2 looks. It looks less digital, less artificial, and much more how it was actually filmed. So that's really cool. But in any case, yeah, I'm looking forward to actually watching this again. Just happy to actually have this series again. I want to get Salvation as well to sort of complete my set. Not sure if I'll get Terminator 3. I've heard kind of mixed things about it, and I just don't care for the later films. I just don't care for them at all. So anyway, just happy to have this. Want to get Salvation, and that should be enough for me. All right, we got another steelbook up next. This is The Raid Redemption, which is the original Vietnamese film, I believe these are. In any case, one of the best action films that you can just watch. I mean, my God, if you have not seen this movie before, it's not even the fact that it's a foreign film at all. It's just the way it does its fight choreography, and just the way this film looks is just absolutely incredible. Apparently this is a really great version of the film. It's full 4K there, but they retained the original look of it, and it's still got that all the same kind of color grading and stuff like that the original film had. So they did a really good job bringing this back and restored for the format. I'm waiting for the sequel, The Raid 2, to actually get re-released as well, because I actually like that sequel more than I like this original film. Although this original film film is still really, really excellent, but that sequel is just crazy. You know, you forget to breathe, it's so intense. In any case, really happy to have this on 4K Blu-ray. I was really kind of surprised that you know, this got a 4K re-release before a lot of other films out there. There's a lot of major films that you would expect would get a 4K re-release, and they just have not yet. This is one of those movies that you know, was just I never would have thought would have gotten a re-release, but it did, and it got a steelbook at that. So that's really good news. And yeah, just hopefully looking forward to the eventual you know, sequel of it getting re-released on 4K Blu-ray as well. I already redeemed this code, by the way, so don't even bother. Anyway, yeah, happy to have this, and definitely looking forward to watching this again. All right, our next film here is Wanted on 4K Blu-ray. One of those, you know, really very much films of the time period. Man, I have not seen this probably since around the time of release, so that was like 2008, right? 2007, 2008. Just one of those, you know, really kind of fun, kind of campy, you know, action films with just a really ridiculous concept. And I also actually did play the video game, which I will be doing a reminiscing video on in the future, which kind of acts as a sequel almost to this film. So that game's okay, but this movie is just one that I just remember, you know, very much from just my earlier teenage years, and I have not seen it in so long. I'm actually looking forward to watching to see how the 4K Blu-ray looks. I think I picked this up right at the tail end of my last year's video, but I didn't get to show it off to you guys. So this, you know, I wanted to make sure I got a full spotlight here in this year's pickups, because it was something I picked up towards the end of last year. But in any case, yeah, looking forward to watching this again and kind of seeing the way how it looks on 4K. All right, we have Seven up next. Now this is one I just purchased about a month ago because I had I had like a credit on Best Buy that was going to expire, and so I'm like, all right, you know, I'll look for some movies that are cheap and ones that I planned, you know, that I wanted to get on for my collection and just kind of see what's available. And Seven was available for super cheap. I got this for $5 at the end of the day after my credits, so that was really nice. I was really shocked when I got this because, you know, you look at it initially, it's like, okay, you know, you get your, you know, basic kind of black cover art. You know, it looks nice, but, you know, it's kind of standard. But they actually do a really good job with this. It's a whole slip case, and the whole thing slips out. I mean, look how beautiful this is. And you basically have this nice Amaray case. There's my code, which I already redeemed, and this beautiful, you know, disc. The disc is actually right here. This is the only thing I don't like about it, is because this is a really tight, you know, kind of pocket, and so you have to, like, you know, squeeze the disc out. I don't want to mess with it now, but that's kind of where the disc goes. In any case, I just love the presentation of this. They did such a great job putting this together. I was so shocked when I bought it. I'm like, oh wow, I thought it was just going to be this standard black case or this standard slip cover on top of, you know, a standard, you know, 4K Blu-ray case, but it's an actual Amaray case, and like, it's, you know, it doesn't feel cheap at all. It feels like really thick, you know, pages and stuff like that, and just really good quality. So I just love the way that they put this whole thing together, because it kind of looks, you know, inconspicuous when looking at it from the front here. I have actually not seen this movie. It just got an IMAX re-release earlier this year, but I actually did not make it to go and watch it. So I have not seen it at all. This is one of those films that a lot of people, you know, love, and of course David Fincher's one of my favorite directors out there. So I'm really happy to kind of sit down and kind of watch this for the first time and seeing what it's all like. I would love to get his films like Gone Girl as well on 4K Blu-ray. I think that would just be excellent to have, especially that movie. It's one of my favorite of his, and you know, definitely would continue with this more thriller style, you know, that he sort of is really known for. So anyway, hopefully we'll get a re-release of that soon. That is one I'd definitely get on release, and yeah, I'm just kind of looking forward to watching this for the first time and seeing why people really love this film. All right, and my final 4K Blu-ray pickup, which I was really happy finally got a re-release, but was kind of cutting it close to the line there. This is Tron Legacy from Disney on 4K Blu-ray. You know, I was going to see Tron Ares in theaters, and I was like, I want to watch Tron, you know, Legacy before. And usually what I like to do is I like to watch the films, of course, on 4K Blu-ray. I like to pick them up on 4K Blu-ray and then watch them before I see the sequels. But, you know, for a long time, Tron Legacy was not getting a re-release, and there was no, you know, rumor of it. But they finally actually went and did it, and they did it like a month before Ares came out. So I actually have watched this, and man, I think they did a really great job with the movie. I mean, the way it looks and stuff like that. I know some people have some issues, the fact that it's a 66 gigabyte disc. However, being that Tron Legacy was really kind of filmed in like straight 1080p, they used some like AI upscaling algorithm for this movie. But honestly, the way this film looks is really clean, very pristine. I mean, I was left wanting for nothing when I was watching this on 4K Blu-ray on my display and stuff like that. It just looked fantastic. It looked really sharp. The HDR grade in Dolby Vision looked fantastic as well, which is really why you kind of want the film, right? Because its art direction in Dolby Vision is just pristine. It's just stellar. But yeah, I thought they did a really good job with this re-release. They also released the original Tron, which I have not seen and I opted to not get. They only did these steelbooks, by the way, so you even can't get a standard version of the movie. It has to be in this format. But I think it's a nice looking steelbook, and I did watch Tron Ares, and I did actually really enjoy the film. In fact, I enjoyed Ares more than I enjoyed Legacy here as just a film. I thought it was a much more fun and watchable film than Legacy was. It was kind of interesting because I hadn't seen Legacy in 15 years, you know, ever since it first came out. And so I was watching it, I'm like, oh wow, I'm surprised how you know, less actiony it is. Like, I thought it would be more, you know, action oriented, and a lot of the film is like kind of set up and build up, and there's some action in between, but it's not really the focal point of the story. So in any case, you know, it was really fun watching this again. I'm glad I have it on 4K Blu-ray. It's one of those films that just really takes advantage of the format. Yeah, it probably could be a bit better in retrospect. They could have, you know, done something a little bit more high quality there. But I think, honestly, when I was watching the film, it just looked beautiful, and I wasn't like nothing stood out to me as looking incomplete or just, you know, overly like low res or anything like that. Even though it was using AI to upscale the image, it was like one of the best presentations or best use cases of AI to upscale, you know, just a previous high def image. It just looked fantastic, and it's a 2K film. But again, watching it on the 4K set, and I had the Panasonic UB820. And it was just, you know, beautiful. It just looked fantastic. So can't really say much more than that, but just happy it got a 4K re-release, and we were happy, just happy to watch that before the new film came out. Alrighty, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Just to let everyone know, this now brings the total collection count of 4K Blu-rays that I have to 273. So we're fastly approaching the 300 movie count mark, which would be really cool. And a lot of these movies I, you know, redeem the digital codes for, and I just share them across, you know, family and friends and stuff like that, so that everyone else could equally enjoy the films and my collection. So that's really awesome about it. I will be back next year, hopefully with some more pickups and stuff. There's definitely a lot of films out there that I'm kind of just waiting to drop in price before I pick up. There's very rarely I spend, you know, full price on a movie for release. I usually wait and get these on sale, as I've talked about many times before. So we'll see what happens there. But I hope you guys enjoyed this collection video. All right, let me know if you guys have a film collection of yours, or if you picked up any of the movies that I did in the last year or so. And I'll be sure to talk to you guys in the comments below. Have a good one, and thank you so much for watching this video.